great to be out here with y'all, and I love that. Thank you so much, Jen, for that overly nice introduction. You know, it doesn't quite feel warm enough out here quite yet. Now, I want to know, though, if I'm in the right place. Frankly, I'm not sure. Everyone seems a little sedate and calm, and I don't really understand why. I want to ask you a couple of questions. First, are you tired of working through August 15th to pay for the cost of government?
Yeah!
I don't hear you. Are you tired of working through middle of August, to pay for the cost of government?
Yeah!
Are you tired of having to worry about whether or not your property is going to remain yours?
Yeah!
Are you tired of wondering if you can actually make your business work, if you're going to have a job tomorrow because the insane policies being pushed down on us from our state and our federal level? Are you tired of that?
Yeah!
Then I think we are probably in the right place. I think we probably are in the right place today with friends with whom we can stand shoulder to shoulder and stop the nonsense. If you are frustrated with what you see coming out of Washington, D.C., and I see a couple signs indicate maybe you've heard about the Lord Barack Messiah Obama, or whatever it is we're supposed to call him today. He's now our children's teacher on Tuesdays. Everyone excited about seeing Obama teaching our kids on Tuesday? I'm sure it's going to be wonderful. I'm sure it's going to be wonderful having all of our kids indoctrinated even further into the cult of Obama. Absolutely insane, the things we've seen coming down from Washington, D.C. This is offensive. This is an offensive time for us. Exciting to see so many folks who've never been engaged before, who've never been involved before, that finally we do have to make sure we give Barack Obama a little bit of credit. This is a guy who did what many have not been able to do, and that is to wake up the sleeping giant of the American majority.
Yeah!
Something tells me when it's all said and done, Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, and Harry Reid are going to really wish they'd just let us keep sleeping. I think that if you and I can do our jobs over these next several months, you and I can make sure that we keep our friends and our family passionate and engaged, I'm relatively certain that we can change the face of our country in ways that no one can fully imagine today. But it's going to take you and I being involved and engaged every moment of every day. And we cannot allow ourselves the luxury of simply focusing on what's going on in Washington, D.C. Andrew Jackson, one of our presidents in the 1800s, who himself had a fairly spotty record when it comes to issues of liberty, as many of you probably know. If you don't know much about Andrew Jackson, read a couple of good biographies out there about him. But in his farewell address, he seemed to kind of understand what he had done wrong. He seemed to understand where the challenges came from. And in his farewell address is actually a line that many of us quote all the time. He said that eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. We've all heard that phrase, but we haven't paid too much attention to the very next sentence in that farewell address, in which he said, it behooves you to remain as watchful in your states as in the federal government. The threats coming to our liberty are as real coming from the State House in Austin and the courthouse in Collin County and in the schoolhouse here in Frisco. You and I have to be vigilant at all levels of government. And that's what our organization tries to do. We focus at the state level, working with our good legislators and trying to make life difficult, if you will, for our bad legislators. And indeed, we have a lot of bad legislators. Here we are in Texas. Before we look at the cracks, let's remember where we are as a state. Texas has been leading the nation in job creation. We have some of the lowest tax burdens in the nation. Things are going well in Texas compared to California. Now, that's not a hard challenge. In California, where, they're writing IOUs every day, where they're shutting down their government, which, frankly, isn't such a bad idea when you think about it.
Hell, they're burning the place down.
When you look in places like Michigan, where it just reported in the Wall Street Journal they're having to shut down their prisons and release violent criminals because their economy is so bad they can't afford to keep them open. We're doing far better than those places. But I don't know about you, but I am not content with simply being better than Michigan, being better than California, or better than New York. As Texans, we are inherently better than those people. The challenge, though, is not, to just be better than the other guy, to compare ourselves to the other 50 states. I mean, really, is Nebraska an economic competitor for Texas? I mean, really, Idaho? Who's ever even been to Idaho? I mean, I eat their potatoes. They're wonderful potatoes, but come on. We are Texas. If we are our own nation, which occasionally has some passing interest, I think. If we were our own nation, we would be the 10th largest economy on the planet. We're the #1 exporter in North America. Texas, the #1 exporter in North America. We should not be content with simply being better than the other states. We have to make sure we are doing the best that we can, that we are pursuing those public policies that ensure the greatest amount of freedom, the greatest amount of liberty, ensure the lowest tax burden, the lowest shackles of government. And indeed, make sure we pursue those public policies that let each of you succeed, or even better, the public policies that let each one of us fail. There's nothing quite so wonderful as a place in which you can fall down and skin your knees and have lots of economic boo-boos. Failure is a wonderful thing. But yet we have public policies coming from Washington, from Austin, and indeed in many of our local governments that tend to try to protect us, to wrap us in bubble wrap. But as Thomas Jefferson said, the country, the nation, the government that's big enough to protect you, to give you all that you want, is also big enough to take away all that you have. You and I have to make sure that we are working at all levels of government for the right size government, the smallest size government, where you have the most freedom. If you want to know more about ways you can be directly involved in working for good public policy in Texas, I want you to take out your cell phone right now. Let me say, take out your cell phone. Send me a text message. Send the text message Texas to 77007. Texas to 77007. When you do that, I'll send you a link that shows you not only how you can sign up for more information, get alerts, but also let you know how your specific legislators are doing, how your people in the Texas legislature are performing, give you ideas about campaigns you can be involved in. You can also stop by our booth right back over there on the corner and do the same thing. We have some great little buttons you can grab, some bumper stickers, all sorts of great things you can do there at our booth. Love to have you stop by over there. But as we look at the direction of where Texas is going, we've been doing good things for the past several years, but not good enough. Texas had the 7th highest property tax burden in the nation. 7th highest property tax burden in the nation, which means if you think you own your own home, guess what? You don't. How do I know you don't own your own home? Try this experiment. Don't pay your property taxes next year. Don't pay your property taxes. I know what happens. A big burly man with a constable patch will show up at your home and will ask you to leave his property. Our property taxes are confiscatory. That's why we have the worst home ownership rates in the nation, because our property taxes are too high. Now, it'd be nice to blame our legislators for our high property taxes, and some of us incorrectly do. But the real problem with our property taxes are our local governments.